Picture this: you are in the same room as power. The executive everyone talks about, the creator whose work you respect, the quiet investor who decides what lives and dies. You stand a few meters away, you hover in the same chat, you comment under the same posts. You send polite messages, thoughtful emails, supportive comments. You even show up at their events hoping to finally be noticed. And nothing happens. No reply, no invitation, not even real eye contact. Then you watch someone else, not as smart as you, not as loyal, somehow get pulled into their orbit with one conversation and a casual handshake. It feels personal, but it is not. Powerful people are not ignoring you by accident. They are filtering you out by design. Their reality is constant attack, takers who want money, clingers who want validation, time wasters who want attention, emotional leeches who want a private therapist in a high-status body. If they open the gates to everyone who is kind and enthusiastic, they drown. So they build armor and filters. To them, you are not evil. You are just more noise in an endless storm of demand. This is the part no one tells you, because it shatters the comfortable fantasy that being nice, polite, and real is enough. Power is not a charity. It does not reward passive goodness. It rewards leverage, clarity, and strategic value. Machiavelli warned rulers to assume that most men move from fear and self-interest, and to choose allies who can actually protect the throne, not simply admire it. Modern power does the same, until you understand how they screen for value and screen out risk. Every approach you make will quietly disqualify you. In this video, you will see 13 ruthless laws that flip you from forgettable fan to potential asset. If you are willing to kill your ideas about connection and learn how the game is really played. If you keep clinging to the belief that authenticity alone should open doors, you will keep walking into walls and calling it bad luck. The truth is, there are backstage rules to proximity that almost no one will explain to you, because they benefit from the gap between how you think power works and how it actually operates. Closing that gap starts with dropping the victim's story and studying the filters instead of resenting them. If you misunderstand everything you're about to hear, you turn into exactly what powerful people fear: another parasite in a nicer outfit. There are only two ways you can approach power: as a parasite or as an ally. Parasites chase proximity for money, status, or emotional validation. They want the photo, the shout-out, the access, but they bring nothing real to the table. Allies think differently. They ask, how do I make our connection safer, more profitable, more efficient for both of us? They think in mutual benefit, long-term trust, and rock-solid respect for the other person's time, reputation, and risks. This video is about walking the second path. Machiavelli is not your license to be cruel. He is a surgeon of human nature. He wrote that men are often ungrateful, forgetful, and driven by self-interest, not to justify abuse, but to keep rulers from being naive and destroyed. You are applying that same cold lens to modern power networks, so you stop humiliating yourself with childish, needy outreach. These 13 laws are not here so you can lie, mimic, or emotionally drain powerful people. They exist so you can protect yourself, position yourself intelligently, and build clean alliances without selling your soul. You stay grounded in your values while understanding that the world around you rarely shares them. If you hide behind a sense of morality to avoid strategy, you don't become good, you become prey. Learn the game cleanly, or keep getting sacrificed by those who already do. You keep imagining powerful people living calm, luxurious lives, sipping coffee and thoughtfully reading every message you send. That fantasy is killing your chances. Their actual reality is chaos. Open their phone and it's hundreds of messages, pitches, favors, emergencies, fake compliments, and strangers asking for just 5 minutes. Open their calendar and it's meetings stacked on meetings, each one carrying some legal, financial, reputational, or emotional risk. When your world looks like that, you stop seeing individuals, you start seeing equations. Every new person is filtered through 2 ruthless questions. What can this person do for me? And how dangerous are they to my time, reputation, or peace? That is not cruelty, it is survival. Imagine a CEO deciding which junior to actually mentor. He's not secretly thinking, who needs it most? He's thinking, who can actually execute? Who is discreet? Who won't make me regret letting them close? The hungry, emotional guy who overshares in the group chat, complains about management, and needs constant reassurance is a walking risk. The quieter one who delivers, asks sharp questions, and never gossips his potential leverage. Power networks run on this value-risk calculation. If you want in, you have to increase one and lower the other. Value can be hard skills, rare information, unique access, or simply ruthless reliability. Low risk means no drama, no leaks, no weird entitlement when you don't get instant attention. Machiavelli warned that a wise ruler chooses few but reliable confidants and avoids those who might embarrass him in public. Modern power does the same, scanning for people who could expose screenshots, start scandals, or emotionally implode. Right now, whether you mean to or not, you're probably broadcasting need, emotion, and impatience more than competence, stability, and discretion. That's why doors stay shut until you start moving like an answer in start of another potential problem. You will remain outside, no matter how good your heart is. Once you accept the ecosystem you're trying to enter, you can finally reshape yourself from a begging outsider into a piece of the game that powerful people can actually use. Then the question changes from, why won't they notice me? To how do I change my signal so I lower their fear and raise their gain? That shift is brutal to your ego, but essential to your strategy, because only then do the laws of connection start to make sense. Before you ever send a message, shake a hand, or step into a room, the game has already started. Most people lose right here because they approach power with the wrong identity. They move like fans, not like future assets. Law 1 is brutal but simple. Stop approaching as a fan. Fan energy is obvious. Overpraising, forced familiarity. Paragraphs about how much their work changed your life. Trauma dumps about how you're struggling and need a chance. All of that screams low status. It tells them, you have everything, I have nothing, please save me. Powerful people don't select savable projects, They select useful pieces. A future asset speaks differently. You can respect, you can appreciate, but you don't worship. You talk less about admiration and more about problems you can solve, frictions you can remove, or ideas you can execute, which leads to Law 2, build an edge before you reach up. Power does not need more average human beings orbiting it. It needs sharp ones. If you are just a hard worker with good heart, you're invisible. You need something that is undeniably useful, a technical skill, creative execution, niche knowledge, distribution, access to an audience, introductions to people they want, or the ability to handle unpleasant tasks they don't have time for. Picture a young, unknown editor who follows a creator. Instead of begging for mentorship, he takes one of their videos, quietly re-edits 60 seconds of it into a stronger hook, and sends a short message. I cut this from your last upload, thought it might work better as a reel. If it helps, I can do more. No begging, no essays, just value. That's how assets talk. Law 3, signal alignment, not neediness. Needy people center their own story. I've been a fan for years. I really want to learn. Can you help me? Strategic people center of the person they're approaching. You study their vision, their style, what they're trying to build, and you frame what you do as something that fits into that arc. You're not asking, can you pull me up? You're quietly showing, I already move in your direction. Adding me makes your push lighter. Finding me, Law 4, respect hierarchies and study their incentives. Machiavelli wrote that anyone who deals with a prince must understand the prince's interests if he hopes to be welcomed into his council. The same applies here. Before you fantasize about proximity, you ask, what is this person actually optimizing for? Status, freedom, money, legacy, protection. Who are they trying to impress? What are they trying to avoid? What pressures crush them at 3 in the morning? Then you think like a strategist. How can I make that easier, quieter, more, if belief says, if they just see how eager I am, they'll help me. The Machiavellian understanding says, if they see I understand their world and can reduce their burden, they'll keep me around. Skip these 4 laws, and any outreach you make will feel like a random knock from another begging fan. Live them, and you become something rarer, a piece of the board they might actually want to move with. Only then do you cross the invisible line from audience member to someone power quietly starts calculating around you. Positioning yourself as an asset is the first filter. The next is how you actually approach without setting off alarms. Law 5 is simple. Enter through value channels, not cold desperation. The worst way to reach a powerful person is with a long, emotional message that basically says, I need you to change my life. They have seen that script 1,000 times. Instead, you look for existing pathways where value already flows. Maybe you notice a bug on their website and quietly send a clear fix. Maybe you create something that plugs into their ecosystem, a mini design, a data breakdown, a template their team could actually use. Maybe you come through a mutual contact who can vouch for your character and competence. The approach is never, please save me. Here is something that makes your world lighter. Law 6: borrow small moments, not their whole life. Powerful people protect time the way warriors protect arteries. You do not ask for an hour when 30 seconds would prove everything. A short, precise message, a quick solution, a concise question. I know someone who landed a serious mentor with a 3-line email. First line, a specific result he got using the mentor's method. Second line, one sharp question about a real challenge. Third line, appreciation and a clean exit. No essay, no trauma, no neediness. Law 7. Make every interaction reduce their cognitive load. Their mind is already drowning in decisions and fires. Your presence must simplify, not complicate. That means you show up prepared. You know what you want to say. You are specific, and you do not drag them into your emotional storms. If they have to untangle your message, they will skip it. Law 8. Let them chase insight, not your approval. Instead of bombarding them with follow-ups, you drop something genuinely useful or interesting, and you let it breathe. A sharp observation about their industry, a small piece of data they can use, a refined version of something they already do. Machiavelli noted that rulers are drawn to advisors who bring clarity and advantage, not to flatterers who only bring praise. Be the one who adds a little more signal than noise every time. The emotional outsider over texts double checks whether the message was seen and reads silence as an insult. The strategic operator stays calm, concise, and consistent, letting quiet value speak louder than thirst. Most people never reach this stage because they cannot tolerate the discipline of small, sharp moves. They either rush the process and demand a call, a job, a favor, or they overstay in one interaction until they feel the other person's energy drop. That is when the invisible wall goes up and never comes down again. You will do the opposite. You will make first contact feel light, useful, and easy to forget, in the sense that there is no aftertaste, no obligation, no emotional weight. Then, when your name reappears later, it carries a memory of relief, not of pressured. That memory is what buys you another opening and another, until proximity stops being an accident and starts becoming a pattern you build. Getting in is hard, but staying in is what separates a lucky moment from a different life. Once you have some access, every move you make is quietly recorded. Law 9: be a vault. Never leak, never gossip. The second you repeat a private conversation, show a screenshot, or hint that you know something secret, you're finished. Powerful people assume one thing: what you do with others, you will eventually do with them. If you talk about your old boss, your ex, or some previous mentor like they're idiots, unstable, or corrupt, you think you're bonding, but you're actually telling this new person, one day, I will do the same to you. Machiavelli wrote that rulers fear those who can turn the crowd against them or expose their weaknesses to rivals, so they reward loyalty and destroy loose tongues. In modern terms, that means the most valuable people around power are the ones nobody ever hears from, but everyone quietly trusts. Your status rises every time you say less than you know. Think about the people you instinctively trust. They are the ones who do not screenshot private chats, who do not turn every disagreement into a public spectacle, who can hear something raw from you and let it die with them. Around them, you feel safer taking risks. Powerful people are simply applying that same instinct on a larger scale. If you make them feel exposed, they will treat you as a threat, even if your intentions are completely innocent. Law 10. Manage your emotions like a professional. Around power, emotional instability is a red flag, and red flags do not get promoted. No soaking when they don't reply. No passive-aggressive jokes about being ignored. No weird vibe because they were warm yesterday and cold today. Their time and energy fluctuate with pressure, not with how much they like you. If you need constant validation, go back to the stands. The field will break you. Your advantage is steadiness. You reply when it makes sense. You deliver when you said you would. And when they vanish into their world for a while, you keep building in yours. Law 11. Think in years, not messages. Proximity to power is not built on some cinematic breakthrough where everything changes after one brilliant text or meeting. It is built like compound interest, small, low friction value added again and again over time. You don't explode when they miss something you sent. You don't keep score like a bitter friend. You keep showing up strategically with things that actually help. One guy gets a single coffee with a big name and spends the next month complaining that nothing came of it. Another offers one small solution, follows up months later with an even better one, and never asks for anything he hasn't earned. Guess which one gets invited deeper into projects, group chats, off-record conversations? The harsh truth is most people disqualify themselves after first contact. They leak details to impress others. They overreact to a delayed response, or they demand emotional reassurance from someone who never promised it. Power is always watching these quiet tests. Pass them, and you stop being a guest and start becoming part of the inner machinery. Fail them, and you'll never even know when the doors silently closed. The final test of power is not how close you can get to important people, but how little you need to cling to them. Law 12. Never outshine, never cling. You don't step into someone else's kingdom and start fighting them for the spotlight they bled to build. You don't copy their voice, hijack their audience, or subtly compete on the thing that makes them who they are. In their domain, you complement, you support, you shine in your own lane. That makes you useful, not threatening. At the same time, you refuse to grip the relationship with desperation. Some connections peak. The season ends. Maybe they change. Maybe you outgrow the dynamic. Maybe it just cools. You don't chase it into humiliation, sending nostalgic messages, begging to be let back in. You respect what the connection gave you and let it fade with dignity. Law 13's always keep exit power. Machiavelli warned that the man who depends completely on another's fortune is never secure. If your entire identity, income, and confidence hang on one powerful person liking you, you're not an ally, you're a pet. You protect yourself by building your own projects, sharpening your own skills, expanding your own network, even while you stand next to power. You use proximity to learn, to grow, to open doors, not to build a cage from someone else's name. The obedient follower orbits one figure for decades, shrinking whenever that sun dims. The strategist develops his own center of gravity, so any alliance is chosen, not begged for. When you live this way, connecting with powerful people becomes a chapter in your story, not the whole book. And you finally become someone who can stand beside power without kneeling to it. Then your role shifts from admirer to architect of alliances. Look at the version of you that started this video. The invisible outsider on the edge of the room, sending long messages into silence, writing essays in DMs, hoping that if you just show enough admiration, someone important will finally pick you. You felt smaller around status, like everyone else had a pass to a world you were never invited into. That version of you moved like prey, over-investing in people who didn't even remember your name. Now contrast that with the identity these 13 laws are building. You start by sharpening edges before you ever reach up. You know your skills, your leverage, your angle. You enter rooms not as a starstruck spectator, but as someone who understands the game and knows what he can offer and what he will never tolerate. Around powerful people, you are calm, observant, and discreet. You listen more than you speak. You don't blurt to fill silence. You don't brag. You don't cling when attention shifts away from you. You underpromise, overdeliver, and let your reputation move through quiet conversations you are not in. You respect hierarchies without worshiping anyone inside them. You can admire someone's success and still remember they are human, driven by self-interest, sometimes reckless, sometimes dangerous. That is Machiavellian clarity, not cynicism, seeing power without the filter of fantasy or hate. Machiavelli observed that wise men choose allies, but never surrender their judgment. Because the moment you hand over your mind, you become a tool, not a partner. This new identity is anchored in emotional control. Your heart rate doesn't spike when a big name replies. You don't scream, shot it, post it, and build your worth around it. You appreciate it. You respond with client value, and you go back to your mission. You stop moving like a programmable fan and start moving like a predator who understands territory, timing, and restraint. Most men will never make this shift. They will die as spectators clapping for people's power. You, if you choose, can act like someone power has to account for, not just someone watching from the cheap seats. Knowing these laws changes nothing if you move the same. So for 7 days, you run an experiment. Days 1 to 3, you focus on laws 1 to 4. Choose one powerful person in your field and study exactly what they're building, who they serve, what pressures hit them. Define one edge you have that could plug into that world. A skill, resource, or perspective. Days 4 and 5, you apply laws 5 to 8 in the smallest way possible. Send a concise email that fixes a visible issue, or leave one sharp comment that genuinely adds insight, or offer a tiny piece of help that obviously supports their goals. No life story, no flattery essays, no begging. You hit send once and walk away. All week, you practice laws 9 to 11 on the inside. No obsessively checking notifications, no emotional spirals if they ignore you, no fantasies if they reply. You simply watch yourself. Notice where your chest tightens, where your ego flares, where neediness tries to come back. Whether they answer or not, you write down what you learned about value, timing, and your own triggers. This challenge is not about forcing your way into someone's circle. It's about training yourself to move around power with strategy instead of desperation. Most men will nod at these ideas and then slide back into fan behavior. If you actually commit to 7 days, you begin crossing the line from outsider to operator. Connecting with powerful people is not magic, luck, or selling your soul. It's psychology and discipline. You've seen now that power doesn't respond to flattery or chaos. It responds to value, low risk, and clear thinking. Machiavelli was never telling you to become a villain. He was telling you to stop being naive before the world eats you alive. These 13 laws, if you apply them with integrity, turn you from an invisible background into a potential ally. Someone who understands how power thinks, respects the risks it carries, and moves with enough self-respect to walk away when a connection is wrong. Your job now is to use these ideas cleanly. Build relationships that are mutually beneficial. Protect your time like a scarce resource. Sharpen your mind so you are hard to manipulate. And slowly surround yourself with people who can actually pull you forward. The men who dismiss this as too dark, while changing nothing, will stay on the outside, complaining about gates they never learned to open. If you're serious, prove it. Comment, "I am an ally, not a fan," to lock in the identity, and tell me which law you're going to practice first this week in reality.